There is breaking news coming in. The Sabarimala case is just developing by the hour. Two women have agreed to return amid priests' threats to shut Sabarimala temple. Two women were 500 meters from the 18 steps or the golden steps that lead to the sanctum sanctorum of the shrine of Lord Ayyappa when they decided to turn back. This is the latest that we are getting in on the Sabarimala temple controversy, that the two women who were all set to enter the Sabarimala shrine have decided to retreat in the backdrop of threats made by the head priest of the Sabarimala temple to shut the doors of the shrine if any woman between the age of 10 and 50 entered. The female devotees who were at the edge of creating history by stepping foot in the temple have now decided to retreat. This is the latest that we are getting in on this news story. Earlier during the day, we were informed that two women were all set to create history. One of them was a Hyderabad-based journalist, Kavita, and the other was a devotee from Kochi. They were all set to create history by becoming the first two women to enter the Sabarimala temple from belonging to an age group of menstruating women. And unfortunately, the head priest of the Sabarimala shrine has threatened to shut the doors of the shrine and walk out if these women entered the temple, which is why the women have decided to retreat after we are also being informed that the IG also decided to speak to these women and address the matter, because not just the head priest or the police personnel, but also the temple management board are trying to arrive upon a truce. This could have been a breakthrough in the ongoing Sabarimala protest if the women would have actually entered the Sabarimala shrine. What's important to see now that the women have decided to retreat from the shrine, will the protesters actually call off agitation? Now that they have decided to retreat is the big development that we have to wait and watch. I am also joined in by our correspondent Siddharth MP, who joins us live from a place located near to the Sabarimala temple. Let's quickly go across to Siddharth. Siddharth, multiple twists and turns are taking place right since morning, as we saw that these two women were all set to create history. But now we hear that the head priest has actually threatened to shut down the temple and walk out, and which is why the women have actually decided to retreat. What is the latest you're getting in from Ground Zero?
Yes, of course. A couple of hours ago, there was a lot of deliberation from the end of the government, and they were planning as to what they could do and whether they could let the women inside, because the decision was to initially let them inside, and that's how they got that far in the morning in the first place. And if you also remember, there was a lot of policemen, about 100 policemen, who were in riot gear wearing protective vests and helmets, who were gathered there. And if they had to actually venture into the temple, and if they had to take the women in, they could have done it. But it was the orders from above, it was orders from the state government that has actually ensured that they did not go inside. And of course, there's also protests from the groups outside the temple, be it the people who perform the pujas, the tantris. All of them are against women's entry. And now even the government has actually taken a U-turn. The government has actually fallen back now, and they're actually saying that women should not enter, because now they figured out very late that these women were not devotees but also activists. So that is the issue from the government's end now, that they've understood something new about this case.
Absolutely, Siddharth. Also, this is clearly becoming a tussle between the judiciary and religion, so to say, where women are the only one getting supported, by the judiciary, whereas including the government, as you just mentioned, is taking a U-turn, and not just the government, but even the security personnel, because we believe that the IG also went on to actually persuade the women to retreat. Apart from that, the head priest has already threatened, including the Devaswam board also, which is waiting for peace to actually take place.
Yes, of course. Now, this is what happens in a country like India, where religion and politics are intertwined. Sometimes in cases like these, what the judiciary says has taken a backseat, because now in the end what is winning is emotion and popular sentiment and the protests of the people and of the people that are associated with the Sabarimala shrine. As you observed, yes, very rightly, sometimes the judiciary takes a backseat, because now on the ground the implementation is different. While the government itself wanted to implement it just yesterday and even day before yesterday, even now the government has backtracked, because they are understanding the gravity of the situation and seeing the heat of what is happening on the ground with regards to protests or with regards how the sentiments of the people are being affected.
Right. Siddharth, also, these protests could very well have political undercurrents, because let's not forget, be it the BJP or the Congress, they have already politicized this matter by pointing fingers at the CPM-led government. And this case is also becoming an acid test of sorts for the Kerala government.
Absolutely. That's very right, because now, as you mentioned, the communist government is for the Supreme Court verdict, and they initially wanted women to enter, and the opposition actually used this opportunity very cleverly to capitalize on this issue and to ensure that women are not allowed, to ensure that women are not allowed into the temple. They urged the state government to actually file a review petition, but the state government stood their ground and did not file a review petition. And also the opposition parties, they are the ones that also instigated these mobs to a certain extent. Yes, some of them are doing it on their own, but some of them are also instigated by the opposition parties. Naturally, these are religious groups, and when the opposition has a chance, they always go and take a dig at the communist government in Kerala.
Right, Siddharth, thank you so much for bringing us all the latest on this story. We will continue to track and take the latest updates from you on the Sabarimala shrine controversy.